Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 55 of Direwolf20's server play. Richard G here is hanging out right under his dire stats monitor. You can see he's updated the dire stats. He's added the apiary front and back door. Richard G, are you on TeamSpeak yet? TS, why you no boot up? I guess that's a no. And, yep, so I guess he reset all the stats, and now we can see I've been in and out the front and back doors of my apiary about the same amount of times. That might have been Richard G. Got an awesome pick, huh?
Oh,
ooh, my backdoor stats updated. That's awesome.
That took me a minute to figure out what he's wearing.
Oh, he's got reinforced armor on? Is that what that is?
Yeah, the composite armor, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I've never used that.
I want to finish working on my little logistics request system that I was making last episode. So that's definitely in the works. I probably mostly at this point have programming to do. I don't think I have much in the way of building to do. So some people like the programming, some people don't. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit light on the programming stuff. Yep, so here's Richard G messing with me. Nice. He's got little computers underneath the pressure plates. Awesome. What did you do now? I built like kind of a request logistics system in my computer age. Weren't you watching today's episode? It's over here. So basically what I worked on last episode, guys, was this little nifty gadget. Basically, yeah, no, I started building this on the one that went up today. It can move left and right, and it will hopefully be able to request items out of chests using red power. And I'm using a computer craft computer. And some of you might be wondering why I chose to use a computer craft computer. Don't worry, there's a reason. It's I have a very good reason, and there's UU matter all over the floor as usual. Hey CPW, what's up, man? So, I have a little bit of programming to do. I might do that, like I said, off camera. I think what I've come up with as a plan is writing the code on camera is probably boring to watch, but seeing what the code does and how it works might be more entertaining. So I think I'm going to cut the video, write the code and debug it and make sure it's working properly, and do it in chunks where I'm like, all right, I just wrote a new function. I'm going to go over it with you guys, let you know how it works briefly, and then show you the little testing of it, and then, you know, cut the camera again and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, if you know, there's anything interesting or fun happening on the server or chat in TeamSpeak, I will be back to let you guys hear it. But for now, time to hang out and get some coding done. And dude, Soren, really, with the UU matter everywhere. Literally.
It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Who's warping? Alright, what are we looking at? We're looking, Richard G.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm using the... Yeah.
Yeah, my drill does that too.
Mm-hmm. We're not very impressed now.
Slowpoke or Floristar, are you guys here?
What?
Are you guys here?
What do you mean here?
On TeamSpeak?
Obviously.
Okay, fair enough. Question, did somebody just update their Bahicraft instance?
One would assume.
Yes, one would assume. It's probably Tog. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go write some code, and I will be back in just a few minutes. And recording again, guys. Oh, Richard G set himself on fire. Perfect time to start recording. Made some changes to my code that I did last episode, and I'm going to go over it now. I'm storing the current position of the block, and I'm going to name, yep, still recording, just let go of my push-to-talk key while I open my computer. Want to give the ice thing. Oh, one sec, let me explain my code, and then you can give the ice thing. So I'm going to call the far left position in this room, in this chest here, position 0, just for fun. I mean, I could call it position 1, but 0 is kind of the way to do it if you're all programmy. And that's the current position of the block. Every time it moves right, it's going to increase the value of position by 1. So what it's going to do is, currently it's at position 0. When I tell it to move right once, first it's going to check if the position is currently number 8, which is as far as it can go. If it is 8, it's going to give you an error message saying it can't go any further to the right because it's gone as far as it can. And then it's going to stop this for loop. Okay? Then what it'll do is it'll move the block to the right if it wasn't already at position 8. And then it'll increase the position value by 1. So basically what happens when it moves right once is the position variable, which is currently set to 0, is going to get increased to number 1. And then, just for debugging, I'm printing the position that it's currently at. Now, when it's moving to the left, it's going to pretty much be doing the same thing, okay? So on left, it's going to check that the position is currently 0. If it is, then it's going to stop and say I can't go any further to the left and stop whatever it's doing, okay? And then if that doesn't happen, it's going to go ahead and move it to the left and decrease the current position by 0. So if it's already at block number 5 and I tell it to move left twice, it's going to move left once, set position to 4, then it's going to get moved left again and set position to 3. Okay? Now, basically, this is going to be pretty cool. So let's do a little bit of a test by telling it to move right 10 times, and then move left 10 times, okay? So what should happen is it's going to start moving to the right, and then once it gets to position 8, it's not going to allow it to move right anymore. And it's going to do the same thing for position 0 once it gets to the left. So it's going to print out, remember, every time. So it moved over once, it printed 1. It moved over again, it printed out 2. And it's going to keep printing and printing and printing. And once it gets to position number 8, it's not going to allow it to go further to the right. So it's going to stop and start moving left. Now it's going down 7, 6, 5. Remember, I told it to go 10 times, but it stopped because of that if-then statement. And then when we get to 0, you can see can't go further left, so it's going to stop again. Cool. So this is the way for me to track exactly how far or where the position of this block is at. Now, every time this program loads, it's going to reset the position to 0. And I'm going to handle that in just a little bit, but you'll see how that works. Don't worry, it'll be pretty straightforward. But for now, basically know that I've edited the code a little bit so that the ARM can keep track of where it's at. All right? Now, Richard G. wanted to talk about ice. Yes, he made the floaty water next to my house using ice, because apparently when you place an ice block, it doesn't become a flowing block when it melts until it's updated. And you update it by what? Applying a redstone signal or a torch light or something like that. Yeah, any block update, including, does water update light level? Oh, it doesn't. Okay. I would say if that was the case, then it wouldn't work in a regular age. Just redstone and block changes. So if you placed a block next to it, it would update the block.
Indeed it would.
So that's how you made the little floating water trick. You placed a ice block. Yeah, bud switches. Something I still don't understand what they are or how they work. So let's try this out.
Which nowadays you don't really need to be a bud switch for most contraptions.
So by doing that, it should basically just use a piston glitch. Alright, I'll pretend I know what that is. Good times. Alright, I'm going to go back to writing some code, and then I'll be back, guys, very shortly. Alright, guys, I'm taking a break from writing my little program in there for this, because Richard G. wanted to show us his tower builder. Alright, Richard G., what do you got? Go ahead and explain how it works for us. There's some gray metal posts, some computers, some wireless modems, a disk drive, and a disk with the RG GPS tower boot on it. So he writes GPS tower, and then... I
think Richard G should be the one talking.
This is version 1. He should be the one talking, he just doesn't talk, that's his thing. So he builds his GPS tower, he places a computer, he puts a modem on it. Then he puts a disk drive under it, and he puts the disk inside the drive, and...
modem on top.
Oh, so you rely on the computer finding its own GPS coordinates.
In V2, okay.
Oh, that's fixed in V2, huh? That's cool, though. I like that it builds the tower for you. That's pretty neat. Oh, there's going to be a compass device built in?
I like how the fence is next to the right.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. But it still connects. Like if it moves
I
forward.
like it, dude.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, it's probably pretty far away from my existing tower, and as we know, the further up in the sky that your tower is, the better it's going to work. So, turning my gravitation engine off as I quantum suit around. If this were up higher, it would have a further range. Like right now, it's at range of like 64 blocks, but if it were higher up, it would be like 300 plus. All right, back to programming for a split second. To be recorded, CPW11 was slain by a slime. How is that possible? Yes, probably AFK. Poor CPW. Alright, recording off again. Okay guys, made a few more changes here I want to talk to you about. I created what's called a table. And if you look in my screen here, you can see I've got this local items. And basically what I've done is I've set it up so that it knows that if it gets the word coal, that's assigned to the number 0. And redstone is assigned to the number 1. And cobble is assigned to the number 2. So think of like a table or, you know, a chart or something like that. And if I go say, hey, what's the number for redstone? It's going to come back and say the number for redstone is 1. Now what I've also done is set up on my chests over here that coal is in the first chest. Cool. And remember that's chest number 0. And maybe I should number these with signs or something. And redstone's number 1 and cobblestone is number 3. So I've kind of set it up like that. So 0, 1, 2 if you're counting in the system that I was using. Okay. So let's go and mess around with this a little bit. All I got to do is look down here. I've set it up so that right now I've got a little if program there, and I'm passing it in at the as a command line item. I say if you don't know what that item is that I gave it, print out the message unknown item. Otherwise, print out the number that's associated with that item. What does that mean? Well, let's check it out. I'm going to save and exit. So if I ask for coal, I should get 0, and redstone I should get 1.
Steve.
What's up to Steve?
My poor chicken from yesterday got buried alive by Dyer.
Oh dear.
Did I break
He's
something?
committing chickenocide, is he?
He is indeed.
Must have done something weird.
German engine?
Hang on one sec. And we're back. I don't know what was wrong, but there was something wrong with this line, and I just fixed it. So let's get a test going, like I said. I just need to request coal, and it should tell me that coal is number 0. And if I say request redstone, it'll tell me redstone is number 1. And then I can say request, for example, cobble, and that should come back with number 2. Perfect. Now move on to the next step.
So I need to make sure I have the Java 6 JDK.
All right, guys, we're back.
Why doesn't it?
You put a warning in there.
What's that?
Apparently
just
I put a
arguing.
warning in somewhere.
No worries.
That's the only reason I have to have Java 6. Otherwise, I just use
There I go
Java
with the
7.
B's again. Sorry, guys.
You can build with Java 7. You just have to be careful to make sure you tell it to use Java 6 source and target.
Which requires that I...
So basically what I set up here is that I check to see if we're in position. So if I give it an item it doesn't know, it's going to print unknown item. If I give it an item it does know, it's going to print the current position of the block, which remember right now is set to 0. And then it's going to compare it to the position of the item I request. And then it's going to determine how far it has to move left or right. So for example, remember coal is in the far left chest, which is position 0, and it's already currently in position 0. So let's request coal. And caps counts. So to spelling request properly. It says current position is 0, item position is 0, we're in position already. So we're good. Now if I were to request, I don't know, redstone, it's going to say current position is 0, the item position of redstone is 1, so we have to move right once. Okay? And the same thing for cobble, it's going to have to move right twice, right? So we're determining how far we have to move our quarry arm over here. Well, not quarry arm, but our arm. That moves over. So it has to move over 1, 2 to get to the cobble. Make sense? Totally, I hope. Now, if we edit this just to prove that the move right or move left works, we can edit request and change the position to 5. Let's just pretend for a moment that this thing is in position 5. Okay? And we will request cobble again. Current position 5, item position 2. Now we know we have to move left 3 spaces. And the same thing for example, coal. Has to move left 5 spaces. Get it? Got it. Cool. So again, the way this works is that it takes the current position, compares it to the position of the item I request, and then determines how far it has to move it by basically taking, subtracting those two numbers. So if the position of the item I'm requesting is 2, right here, let's say, and it's currently in position 0, 2 minus 0 is 2, and it has to move right twice. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. All right, we're back, and I'm recording again, guys. And basically, here's what we're going with now. I have made it such that instead of just telling me what it's going to do, it's going to actually do it. So let's set our current position properly to 0, because that's where the block is at the moment, right? Position 0. Cool. And then I'm going to go in here and show you guys the following. I have it set up so that now it's going to still print those messages I told you about, but then it's going to actually move right the number of positions or move left the number of positions and request the number of items I tell it to request. And then once it's done with everything, it's going to move it back left 9 times. So basically what it's going to do is if I request cobble and I request 32 of them, it should move this over right twice, pull 32 pieces of cobble out, and then move it back to the left 9 times. But as you know, I set it up so that if it gets to that position of 0, it'll just end. It'll be like, oh, I'm done, I'm cool. And then we should be, again, in pretty good shape. So let's try this right now. So this is proof of concept, hoping everything works. Tog's in my way as I try to jump, so I will yell at him later. I will jump out over on this side. So, confirming this chest is empty, I should be able to say request cobble 15. Go. Current position is that 1, 2, and then it should start pulsing. And if we come down here, we should see pulsing of items. Hey, look at that. How cool. Maybe at some point I'll even put an accelerator down here just to help speed this up a little bit. But then it's done and it moves left twice. How awesome. And hopefully we wind up with 15 cobblestone in our iron chest. See how this is working? And don't worry, this is going to get much more epic rather soon. Ta-da! 15. I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to go re-enable TeamSpeak because they were having a conversation.
Tell if Dyer's recording.
I'm back. Yeah, I was recording, but I had TeamSpeak muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I got my program kind of working as a proof of concept.
So you haven't heard the last 10 minutes of conversation then, Dyer?
I have not. Did I miss anything exciting? Oh, Todd, we should
nothing at all.
We should sleep through the night. Why do I feel like you guys were talking about me the whole time?
No,
Not in the slightest.
it ended with a 20, I can tell you that.
It ended with a who what?
20. But I'm not gonna say it was about you.
Nice. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I feel like I probably don't want to know.
If it helps, neither do we.
Yeah,
We're also
that's
tired.
true.
No, I had you muted for about 5 minutes while I was explaining the code that I wrote in a very poor manner. But it works. It kind of does what I want it to do.
Hello.
What's up, Slowpoke?
Are we live?
We are,
Yes,
sir.
We are.
Kind of.
Okay.
As live as Direwolf can get.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
I'm recording at the moment, yes.
Are you saying
Oh.
Direwolf's
Give me
dead?
my gate, you bastard!
It's not working.
No! It just ate my gate!
Alright guys, I will get some more coding done, and then I'll be back to explain further. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay guys, now I'm moving on. There's a reason I'm storing the position. If I was just going to do this in the way that I could move it left and right and tell it right away one at a time what items to give me, that would work just fine. But instead, I want to have it so that I can either just give it the item and the number of items to request, like I did a moment ago, or I could just enter into a loop mode where you can see if I don't give it the items to put in, it enters into this loop mode. Now I haven't set it to loop mode yet, but you know we'll be okay. Let's do this actually. I want to do that just so you can see the message. All right, what it'll do is it'll print a list of items available and then tell you what you typed. Cool. And then I'm going to do print how many would you like. And then I can do that. and then probably say, now again, I'm just doing this as a debug mode, but to show you guys like the progress of how I'm writing my code, right? So before I typed it so I can request cobble 1, and it would request 1 cobble, right? But now if I don't tell it how many I want, okay, it'll work both ways. If I just type request, it'll say no item entered, entering loop mode, and it shows me the items available, coal, redstone, and cobble. So then I can type in coal, and how many would you like? 6. And now it knows that I want 6 coal. So this is another way for this system to work. So then I'm going to edit some more code. Let's do this like this. Okay. Actually, I'm probably going to want to do something a little different. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. So guys, remember before I created this crazy if, else if list of stuff? Well, basically, I want to do the same thing down here in my other area. I want to move it to the position that I want to get it to. Now, what would be a good thing to do here? If I have this type of code, I want to use it in multiple places. Remember I told you guys that a function is the best way to do that. So I create a function called moveArm, and I tell it what position I want the arm to move to. And then all I have to do is that same kind of if-then, and all it does is move the arm. It just says, tell me what position you want it to go to, and I'll get it there, is what this function does. So now, instead of this crazy list of things that I have, okay, this whole if-then-else thing, I'm going to get rid of it all. Goodbye, everything. That's a lot of stuff to delete. Okay, all I have to do is say move arm, and was that a capital M? No, it was not. Move arm to items, bracket item. So remember, that's where I look up to figure out what it is. And then we can request items. Is that what I named my function? Yes, request items. So that should now work. So if I do request cobble 5, there we go, it's moving right to 1, 2. Now it's going to request 5 cobble for me. So this is me taking a bunch of code that I wrote and making it into a function so that I can now make it easier to call and make my code a little bit easier to read. So now, instead of that crazy long thing that you saw a moment ago, I've now made it just one line down here. Move arm to the position I want it to move to, and then request the items, and then move left 9 times. So now I'm going to do a similar thing here. Basically, I'm going to do this. Print this stuff, and then read, you typed, and then tell me the input. And then I'm going to do move arm again, and do items bracket input. And what that should do is look up in that items list. So I typed in coal. It's going to go to this items and say coal is position 0. And it'll move arm to position 0. Cool. And then it asks me how many I would like. I typed that many. Then I will request items. And this should now work as a menu system. So I can just type request. No item. Entering loop mode. Items available. Redstone. You typed redstone, moving right once. There we go. How many would you like? 5, please. You typed 5. And it should be pulsing 5 times, and then it's done. And we should be getting 5 redstone now. Ha ha! How cool is that? So, hopefully you guys are enjoying this style of programming a little bit better, where I write a chunk of code and then explain it, instead of you seeing me write it on camera. I guess I'll wait for the video comments to find out how well you like this approach. So now I'm going to do a little bit more. Alright guys, we're back. And what I've done now is taken out some of these print lines. When you put this double dash on a line like this, you can put it anywhere, it means everything after it won't actually get processed. So it's called a comment in programming, and when you do that it means don't do this command, just ignore it, pretend it's not there at all. So you can use it to like leave messages for yourself or comment how your code works, or in this case just make it not do something. So basically what I'm setting it up is a loop. It's going to continuously run the following set of code until the input command is equal to quit. And it'll clear the screen, set cursor position to 1, print the current number of items available out for you, ask you what you'd like and how many you would like, and if you typed in quit when it asked you what you liked, it'll just skip the whole moving the arm and the requesting of stuff. Okay, so let's give this a try and hopefully it works. It did not. I forgot to do. While the following condition, do. Alright, hang on. I'll get there. Should have tested this before I started recording, huh? Alright guys, so I ran into a little problem. Basically, if I quit this program in the middle, and I don't put the arm back where it belongs. So let's say the arm is in position 2, and it knows it's in position 2, like it is right now, or position 1, for example. And then the program quits because the chunk unloads or something happens. And then I come back here. Remember, my position gets set to 0 when the program first runs, but it's not really in position 0, is it? It's in position 1 or 2. So what I've done is written a quick reset arm function that's going to run right before the little menu option comes up. And what it's going to do is do the following. Function reset arm. Where you at? There it is. Resetting arm. For I is equal to 1 to 9, just move it to the left. So it just forces it to move left 9 times, even if it doesn't need to. Take a few seconds, but basically this program is meant to run like this when the chunk loads or the world loads. So it should load and run before I actually get to it. So let's test it out now by running request. And let me fix that. Just a little typo with capitalizing a word I shouldn't have, and it says resetting arm. And what it's going to do is it's going to come over here and force the arm to move left 9 times, like I said. And then once it's done moving that arm left a few times, it's going to go ahead and just give me the menu that I ask for. Items available. What would you like? Redstone. Moving right once. How many would you like? 5, please. Enter. And it should get me 5 redstone. Cool. And when it's done getting me those 5 redstone, it's going to bring the menu back up automatically. What would you like? I'm going to say redstone again. It's already in position. How many would you like? 3 more, please. No problem. 1, 2, 3. Boom. What would you like? Ha! And it's going to continue along that pattern. Now, if I tell it I want to get some cobblestone, please, and I'd like 2 of them. It moved it right once already, and I need 2 cobblestone, please. Cool. Gets me 2 cobble. And now what would I like? Coal. Moving left twice. And I just need 1 of those, please. Perfect. Program's working pretty well so far. I'm having fun writing it too. This is neat. Alright, now I'm going to tell it quit. All done. It will try to move left when I type quit, so just in case I manually type it, it'll move it into position where it belongs, but, otherwise, it's pretty good. And it's giving me all the items I'm asking for. There's some of the redstone I asked for, the coal, and the cobble. Awesome. So I'm going to put this stuff away, write a little bit more code, and then come right back. Hope you guys are liking this stuff. I think it's cool. Alright guys, next thing I want to talk about is a little bit of RedNet. Let's check this out. What I need to do is get a modem on this guy. Hey, I have some. Perfect. Wow, that is not common. I'm going to open up this modem on the right hand side. So I'm going to do rednet.open the right side. I think it's capital R. Nope, lowercase. There we go. The modem is on. And now I'm going to say rednet.receive. Okay. Now the cool thing about this is this program is just going to sit here and wait for a message. And if I go to any other computer in my world that has a modem, for example, maybe my little turtle over here. Okay, I'm going to go over here to Lua. Cool. His modem is on. And what I need to know from this is the following information on this computer. So I need to actually kill this. I need the computer ID, which is 112. Okay. Cool. Okay, so the computer ID on this guy is 112. If I want to send a message, I can do this. And it sends back true, saying the message was received. And if I come over here, you can see that it received the message, hello there. Cool. So how can we abuse this? Well, this is a little sneak peek into what I might be working on next episode. I want to show you guys a plan I have. Let's check this out. You ready? Let's do this. I'll be back in a second once I edit this and make a program. Alright guys, I'm going to edit this program I just made called Wireless, and it's very simple. It's a rednet.open right, so the first thing when this program runs is it opens up the rednet on the right hand side if it's not already opened up. In this case it is. And it's going to say, while the message is not equal to quit, do the following commands. When we receive from the rednet, we get 3 messages actually. We get the sender ID, or the ID of the computer who sent the message, the message itself, and the distance of that computer to this computer. And I'm storing those in 3 variables, but the one I'm really most concerned about is the message itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write that out to the terminal. And it's going to keep going over and over and over again until I send it the word quit. So let's check this out by running the wireless program. And in fact, just to make this even cooler, I'm going to do term.clear, term.setCursor to 1, 1, and print wireless mode enabled. Alright, hang on. There we go, wireless mode enabled. If I go over here to my turtle and send the message, hello there, okay, what it should do is print out the message, hello there. And then it's going to go back into wireless mode, and it's going to sit there and wait for another message. And I can come over here and tell it to write the message, this is cool. And it should come over here and find out that the message this is cool has arrived. Perfect. Now it's not, going to carriage return or anything like that. I'm not worried about that. I'm not actually going to be using this to print messages. But if I send the message of quit, it should have quit the program. It did. And then I'm back at a command prompt. It just didn't clear the screen, but that's okay. Just to prove to you guys that this is working. Yeah, you get it. So, that should be working out pretty well. So I'm going to mess around with this a little bit between this episode and next, and trust me, I've got a pretty neat idea for something I can do using this wireless RedNet signal. If you can figure it out, kudos to you. If not, I'll see you next episode. So this is Direwolf20 signing off on episode 55 of Direwolf20's Server Play. Hope you enjoyed it, and of course, come back next time, and take it easy.